What's up, Blueprint family? How y'all doing tonight? Thank you all for joining us. We have a very interesting show for you all tonight, and the topic is why you're always in the friend zone and how to get out of it. So that is a good topic, and we do have a question. We have a letter tonight.
Yep, based off of a question. So, of course, as always, Instagram viewers, you guys are welcome to join us on YouTube for the full experience. You'll be able to see the question and everything as we go along before we dive into this great topic.
Yep, you'll see the question. You'll also hear us in HD, and then also see us in HD video as well. So, and then also too, don't forget to share our videos and subscribe as well. We really appreciate it. We've been getting a lot of traction, and we just want to keep it going. As always, like, share, and subscribe. So thank you all.
Yep, thank you for tuning in. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up so we can get the reading real quick.
Oh, and then also too, if you all have any questions, please, you may interrupt us. You can please interrupt, ask a question at any time, and we'll be more than glad to answer those questions for you. If you have a comment as well, please do so.
Yep. For all the new viewers tuning in, usually what we do is base a question that's given to us through our wifeconomics.com course, submit a question, anonymous, if the person is nervous, but we love the live interaction. So within the link, you can request to join our live on Instagram or YouTube. You're welcome to hit the link on Restream for on and off camera access. Let's dig on in. So, of course, we've already hit on the subject. Why do guys friend zone me after getting to know me? So, I am 20 and have dated a lot of guys. Too many to be honest. Never kissed, never held hands. No one has ever initiated something unless you count paying for dates. I never get past the talking or the 3-date stage. I try to not talk about myself too much or show interest in what they have to tell. And usually these guys send me paragraphs. I open up a little and think everything is okay, and bam, I either get friend zoned or we don't click. But I'm hot, so I should be fine. But I'm not fine because I want a guy to like me for who I am. I want to be loved. How many times do I have to go through this in order to be accepted? The thing is that half the guys aren't even bad guys. They're extremely kind and gentle and friendly. So it always feels like I've done something wrong when I really haven't. At least that's what's being told to me. But I can't figure out, why do I keep getting friend zoned? Well, we're here to help. This is a great question. I think it's pretty common too. I guess if you're not sure on how to initiate things a little further, which we'll get into, but what do you think so far?
I don't know. You want to break down this thing?
Yeah.
I don't believe the whole thing about her saying that she's dated a lot of guys and never kissed any of them and never held hands. I don't believe that. That may be the reason why you're getting friend zoned is because you're unbelievable, to be honest with you. And not so much in a positive way, but I'm not buying that. If you've gone on multiple dates, no one's tried anything, and she wishes to enter a romantic or sexual, what's that, friendship? Oh, that's something else. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's has ever initiated something unless you counted paying for dates. So she paid for dates?
No, she's saying that they've never initiated anything further than paying for dates, pretty much.
I never get, it doesn't, she never get past the 3-date stage.
Or approximately 3 dates. Yeah.
Right.
It happens. I think in particular, for those who don't know, the term friend zone is used to describe a situation in which one person is in a mutual friendship with someone and they wish to actually enter a romantic or a sexual relationship with the other person while the other does not. And in particular, with this young lady, I don't know so much if this is them friend zoning her, because when I think of a friend zone, I think of y'all have already been friends and y'all are just mutual friends, but you want it to go further versus just these guys not initiating further past the simple meeting you stage.
Right.
Yeah.
There is a eventually what you have to do is talk about intentions.
Mm-hmm.
So for those guys that she's getting to the second date, she needs to start asking questions like, do you plan on getting married? Things like that. That
Or
will,
even just a relationship. Just what's his
well, I mean,
intentions with it.
you have to. Every intention of a relationship should be marriage.
That's true.
So it is based on a lot of the questions that she's asking that will basically keep these men interested in her.
And might I add, she did say that the guys are usually very nice and polite. So to be honest, there are really some common other reasons why a guy might not initiate further past the simple interaction with you all. And the most common one that I can think of is he's just really not that interested. Sometimes when a guy, they meet you, y'all talk for a little bit. I mean, it's kind of obvious that if the guy isn't so much as interested in you after he's talked with you, then, he's not going to initiate further with you. So, I mean, of course, there's other things like he could be in a relationship already.
Well, let's go back to the interested
Worst
part.
case, yeah.
It could be situations where you're dominating the conversations, you're overly confident. He's seeing red flags in you and the things that you're saying as far as what you're talking about, and those are things that men are not interested in. Could be materialism, if you're very, very materialistic, and like I said, if you're dominating the conversation and you have this very, very alpha female personality that you have, it's very hard for men to try to have a conversation with you if it seems as if you're very intimidating. So there may be those issues and those things that are driving men away and making them not interested in you at all past the third date. Also, too, maybe you come off as not interested herself. So those are things that, if you speak on interested, those are also some things that men are not turned on it by it also. So
yeah, he also could be afraid of rejection. So you did mention that these guys are nice. I always go back to that because that's key to know that the guys are polite and they're nice. So maybe they don't want to initiate anything further if they're not quite sure, like my husband was saying, where you're standing. Like they don't know that you're interested in them. So this whole Me Too movement and really, guys are more off put to continuously going after a woman, especially if they're not quite sure her intentions. And that's kind of what you hit on in the beginning. And I think we're going to dig into that a little bit more as we go on, because that's certainly something that you have to be comfortable with doing. If you really do like the guy and you wanted to go a little further, you have to get comfortable being able to show that, hey, I'm interested. It may be something as far as, I know she mentioned, she listens. That's cool. But do you do things like make eye contact? Do you touch him like maybe on his arm or his shoulder or something, like while he's communicating, just showing him that interest aside from, just being quiet when you're sitting on the date or something like that, that can
right. I think one of the reasons also too you had up there was that he's actually dating someone else.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
For those people who are on dating sites and use dating sites, just understand that if for the women, you can already suspect that if you're talking to a man on a dating website, he's talking to no less than 5 to 8 women on that dating site.
And
so
same for the girls too,
right? And women are around the same amount of people they're talking to, anywhere from 2 to 5 men. So you have to be aware that there's a lot of competition, and you really have to bring your A game now in these dating when you're dating and show to that person that you are marriage fit. You are worthy to be a wife. You are exemplifying and exuding wife qualities. And then the same thing for men. You also have to exemplify the protector and provider role to women who are exuding those wife qualities.
Yeah. So, I mean, just like my husband's saying, if you're interested in this guy and you're on a date with him and you want him to initiate further with you, make sure that you're sending him those clear signals that say, hey, I'm interested. Flirt with him. Do those things that are going to show him like, hey, I'm really interested in you going further with it without coming off like too pushy. You don't want to be clingy. You don't want to be desperate. Certainly not desperate, but you do want to show that, hey, I'm interested and I'm giving you the green light to, pursue me a little more.
Right. And by all means, please don't be alpha male ish or have alpha female qualities, like I said before, because that is such a turn off. Being your feminine when you're flirting, guys, we want feminine women with feminine qualities. So that is what we're looking for, to make sure that you can, fit our opposite, our male persona, to go along with your feminine qualities.
Yeah.
It's a balance there.
It is. It really is. And I mean, also, to be honest, sometimes guys go out on dates with girls and they might even not even really be they might not really like you. And in that, I may say there's other reasons why they're out on this date with you that may not necessarily have anything to do with you. For example, they're lonely. Sometimes a guy may meet a girl and he's like, hey, let me take her out on a date. I'm feeling a little bored, feeling a little lonely. Yeah, let me get some company.
I've done that in my, young male life. I've done that. Random normal. Females, I would meet them and say, hey, we should go on a date. Took them out on a date, had a good time, and then ghost them.
Oh, I mean, that just sometimes the guy's not looking for a long-term relationship, and you just gotta know, like, ahead of time.
Yeah.
Especially after a few dates. If you don't see anything, after a few dates, see what happens. If you don't see anything progressing, then, that's your cue. Pay attention to the cues that show you, he's probably not that much interested in me, but don't take it so personal, because sometimes it's not even personal, but,
Right. It was nothing personal at all.
Yeah.
And then there was no intention stated. So if you're out there looking really for a wife or a husband, make sure you establish those intentions very early in these dates, so that you all know where you all stand and what direction you all are moving.
Yeah, but certainly don't pressure them, right? So we're not saying like go on these dates and be like, oh, I really, really like you. I'm really trying to get married. I'm really trying to do this like quick. Like don't pressure the guy. That's just going to push him off. And then, to be honest, pressure sometimes might make a guy go on a date just to go on a date, like especially if he's getting pressure from like his friends that are dating and in relationships. He's like, okay, let me go out here and try to see if I can date somebody or something like that. Maybe their parents. Sometimes guys will be like, hey, let me go see my mom and dad to keep pressuring me about dating a girl. Let me just go out on a date. I don't know. There's other reasons why, again.
Or either let me get my ass up off this couch playing video games all day.
Yeah. I mean, whatever the reason, it might not always have something to do with you. Another one that comes to mind is maybe they're hoping you change their mind, right? So maybe you meeting this guy and he may first look, you said you're hot. So maybe first look, he's thinking, she's nice. Let me go take her out. But then, like I said, he gets to know you and it's not there. And that's okay. But maybe he was actually hoping you would change his mind. So that's where, again, the femininity, all of that comes in, of actually being able to show your interest and pique his attention and hold his attention, so that then you'd say, hey, I might be interested in taking this a little further with this girl. So that's certainly one thing to think about. I'm just trying to think if any other, before we get into some things that you could do to make sure that you don't end up friend zoned, because believe it or not, ladies, there are ways that you can prevent this from happening, or at least knowing that, hey, this guy isn't interested in me, so let me just go ahead and dip out. But, another one that I think of too, and I know I keep bringing this up, the fact that she's saying that they're polite, is because that also too could make him not want to hurt her feelings. So even if he like meets the girl and he is polite and he is nice, he may keep talking to you just because he doesn't want to hurt your feelings, but he, again, wants to friend zone you because he's not so much interested.
The thing here is this: she went on multiple dates.
Yeah,
that's one, and then two, she still can't find anybody. So that's what the problem is. Is actually not them. It's actually her. Yeah, those guys who are being nice are telling her, no, it's not you. It really is her.
Yeah,
they're just being too nice by not telling her the truth, which is really hurting her. And there's some things that she needs to address with herself. And she really needs to ask these guys, hey, you know what, okay, you're not calling me back, so why are we not communicating anymore? What is it that I can do better next time, or whatever the case may be, in order to find someone interested in me? Yeah, those guys, if they're not interested in her, they could at least owe it up to her to give her that point, that advice. Yeah. But more than what I'm seeing already from this letter that she's stating, is that more so there's an issue with her. Yeah. And you just gotta figure out what it is. Yeah. These guys keep friend zoning her.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I I'm down to go ahead and get into some thoughts that I had about possibly why you're getting friend zoned and like maybe with some things you can do about that.
Okay, go for it.
Because first off, I really kind of think you're not establishing, like my husband was talking about at first, but you're establishing your intentions and making it really, really clear that if you've been friends with this person, say, for example, again, that's why I think the context of this is kind of off. Because when you're saying friend zoned, I'm thinking like you're friends with this person for a while. So if you're friends with someone for a while and you're starting to feel like you're developing feelings with them, it's your job and your position to actually communicate these feelings. So then that way you can know whether or not this person has these mutual feelings for you and, you know, are willing to go further, but you're not just waiting around for this guy to make the first move on you. If you're actually interested in, especially again, if you have been friends for a while, make sure that you're talking and you're establishing your intentions and letting the guy know like, hey, I think I might be developing a little feelings here. And I don't know exactly where you may stand on this, but if you're looking to explore this a little further, then, you know, I may be looking to explore this a little further. You know, you just gotta be clear, be direct, and then also be kind and nice about it. Don't be pushy again, like we always say, and certainly don't be rude or, you know, anything like that. You're trying to get the guy to want to entertain you further. So
Right.
this is one thing to think about.
Yep. Again, to the Instagram followers, if you all have questions, any type of questions, we're here to actually answer them live while we're on doing the show. And then also, too, if you all just have any comments, please, by all means, share them with us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Well,
So,
yeah.
go ahead. Okay. So if you're not taking care of yourself,
yeah.
So that's another thing. If you're not dressing well, people notice this, working out or taking care of your personal hygiene. This is a way to be put in the friend box.
Yeah.
You're not going to be seen as a potential romantic partner.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. I know she said she's hot or whatever the case
right.
may be.
And that's up for debate. That's
Right.
why I
That's
love
her perception.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you all are writing in. We don't discourage that. If you're more comfortable writing in, great. But we'll be able to help you a lot more better once you guys call in and actually get comfortable having this conversation. Again, we can do this on the Restream where it doesn't have to be directly, you're not on camera, but it will actually be able to allow us to have this dialogue so that we could really understand what could be the issue. Because again, if a guy is interested in you, especially if he's physically attracted to you, I can't see so much it being an issue always being put into the friend zone. I've never heard a hot girl complain about being put in the friend zone. If you get what I'm saying?
Well,
so it's like
I have. And,
really?
Yeah, and it happens when they're talking to a hotter girl.
Oh, when the guy is talking to a hotter girl.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. And you know, it's just competition. You know, there's a lot of competition for good men out here. So you know, women really got to bring their A games when it comes to, you know, romance and all of that.
Yeah, so, put your best foot forward. So make sure you smell good. Make sure and these are the things that I feel like we shouldn't have to say, but we do.
You know, bring the date to him. I mean, you know, learn to cook for him or something like that. Show him that you exemplify, you know, wife qualities. It's hard for a man to turn down a woman who's exemplifying wife qualities. A good man. I'm not talking about boys and guys who still, you know, have multiple females that they're dealing with. I'm talking about men who are ready to settle down.
Yeah.
It's very hard for a man to say no to a woman who's beautiful and her feminine and who also knows how to you know, take care of a house, cook, clean, you know, take care of herself and also the man that she's entertaining. Yeah. So it's very hard. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of going right along with that. You're just not being flirty or confident within like yourself to show and display yourself in a romantic light. So maybe you're coming off more like a friend. Maybe it's more like, I don't know, like a bro, right? Yeah, where it's not that they're not able to pick up on those signals that you're trying to make it something romantic. So, I mean, if you really got to do the cute girly things, you got to flirt, you got to make that eye contact, you got to touch them, you got to communicate, you got to do things that are really going to show that femininity in you that's going to come off as beautiful, both inside and out. Make compliments, like do things that just really show your ability to be like, hey, I'm interested and I want to take this further. without again coming off too clingy, right? So don't text them all the time. Don't be calling all the time, like, or wanting to hang out or all that other stuff. You want to give the man something to kind of go after. You want him to be intrigued about, like, you know, what you're doing. I'm not saying not make yourself available. Certainly want to make yourself available to the guy. One of the worst things I think a woman can do is try to be too not available. Like, him text you and then you play that game of waiting like an hour or 2 hours before responding to make it seem like you're busy. I just think that's a bad game to kind of play, because that really, to me, is not going to show your interest. I think a guy will really know that, hey, I'm interested. If he texts you, I'm not saying you got to be like every right on the second, but 2 minutes, 3 minutes, you can text them back and have that good conversation. That actually shows that you're reliable, and that's a great wife quality to exude right from the jump. Like, if he hits you up, you can communicate and talk.
Well, I mean, I think that a woman needs to be she needs to text back.
Right, immediately.
Yes, because like I said before, there's other women possibly that could take your place. So you need to show this man that you're supportive, you're attentive, and you are available. You know, one of the worst things you can do is ghost this man, or either show signs of not being you know, that you're hard to reach. And that often at times can be a deal breaker for men. You know, especially men who are looking for wives. I think that more so they want all of your attention as much as possible, and they will reciprocate that as well if the feeling is mutual. So you do need to stay in contact often, I would say, to make sure that, to let this man know that you're somebody they can depend on you, and you are readily available to be there to have a conversation with them. So
I agree with that. I just don't, not in the part of if they're not hitting you back. Like, so, like, say you're texting this guy and he doesn't text you back, don't like keep hitting him back. Like, oh, what you doing? What you doing now? What you doing
don't
now?
be worse.
Why you ain't hitting me back?
Right, don't be worse.
That's the only
leave a
thing.
message.
And let it be. But certainly, I like that. Just show you're available. That's a really good thing. Really appealing. Also, I think you mentioned in here that you were a good listener, which would be great, of course, because you certainly don't want to go into the state where you're just the one that's always talking and never listening. You're not able to then connect with the guy and really see about his interests and stuff, like his plans for life and how you can possibly fit into that. So it's always nice to be able to hear what that other guy is saying and learn a little bit more about you. It will, not saying that, you know, don't tell about yourself, because that's one certain way that you would know that he is interested in you as well, if he is asking you questions and is like, hey, like, tell me about you as well too. So having that mutual and reciprocated interest is a certain way for you to know that, hey, this guy is going to want to take this a little further than friends.
If you found yourself in the friend zone, don't despair. So there are things that you can actually do to get out. One, be honest with yourself, with the other person. So are you really interested in being friends with this person? Or are you just hoping that they will eventually change their mind? So if you're not sure, then it's important to be honest with yourself and with the other person.
So basically, if you know you want to get into a romantic relationship with this guy, don't put yourself in the friend zone yourself by just saying, oh, we could be friends, or, oh, I want to be friends, or, oh, I'm, taking on that friend role naturally just because you're interested in the guy and you want to get close to them. Don't blur that line. You really want to have that distinct line of you being interested, and sure, you like to get to know them as a friend, and sure, you want to establish a relationship that's friendly, but in no way are you interested in just being friends with this guy. That should never be kind of your goal when you're dating. Kind of get yourself trapped up.
And communicate your feelings to the other person in a respectful way. So you want to let them know that you are interested in them romantically. You need to be clear about your intentions, and don't pressure the other person.
Yeah.
If they say no, accept their decisions and move on. So don't try to pressure them or make them feel guilty. So you can't make people change.
Yeah.
Understand that you can inspire people to change, but you yourself cannot make people change. That
Yeah.
is a decision on the person. Personal self will delegate change in themselves,
Yeah.
and oftentimes change what takes time. So you have to be patient.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Because even still, just you betting on them changing their mind or wanting to be more with you later on, it could only set yourself up for like pain and disappointment. And just then you're going to try to take the victim mentality from that. Really, just don't get yourself in that situation where you're going to, end up disappointed if things don't go out your way. So certainly be prepared for it to go either way if the guy is interested or not. And don't beat up on yourself in the long run. We're not saying that, again, this has much to do with you. Sometimes, again, the guy is just not interested. And that's okay, too. People have their people that they like and who they're interested in. It happens. I know this woman says she's been out with lots of guys. I don't know. Maybe you need to change where you're dating these guys at, the type of guys you're meeting, the environment you're meeting them in. Certainly try to venture out if you find yourself continuously being friend zoned by the same guys. You got to venture out and try to see if you can meet other guys who would not so much friend zone you.
It's not them, it's her.
You think?
Yeah. If what she's saying is true and she met multiple guys,
Yeah.
she had to have in a relationship at least with one of them. If she's that attractive.
Well, according to her, she hasn't. So I don't know. Like,
then she's not that attractive.
Yeah, right.
Or it's something about them that they keep putting her in that friend box. So that is what she is something that she has to fix and she has to be honest about. That's what's going on here.
Yeah. I think
she didn't say she was fit. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you got to be 100% honest, about all of this.
Yeah, that's so true. And I know we keep saying be honest with the guy, but yeah, be honest with yourself as well. If you've gotten to the point, like my husband said, you're just meeting so many guys and nobody's wifing you up or trying to take things further with you, then really sit back and analyze, hey, am I dressing the part? Am I looking nice? Am I doing the things I need to do to show myself as a presentable candidate? Am I fit? Am I, healthy mentally? That matters too. Spiritually, that matters too. All of that.
Because that could be an issue. The things that she say on a date could really turn men off.
Yeah.
She probably comes off well put together. But when she start talking, she's like, wow, this lady's crazy. And they that may scare them away. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's certainly one way to run a man off is by not knowing what to say, how to say it. Maybe pay attention to how maybe you're treating the people around you when you're on your dates. I don't know, your servers. Sometimes guys pick up on stuff like that, like if you're rude or if you're not, just carrying yourself in a way where he will want to be seen with you. Sometimes that could turn a man off,
It'll be loud and embarrassing.
Yeah.
While you're on your dates.
Yeah.
Talking crazy to the waiters and waitresses.
Yeah.
And servers and whatnot.
Yeah, that's totally unattractive as well too. So I mean, there are so many different elements of this that could really be into play of why you keep getting friend zoned. And of course, that's for you to really sit down, since we're not having this conversation live and you will probably just replay this. Make sure then you sit down and actually write down maybe some of the past experiences that you've had and why they ended the way they did, or what can you recall was the reasonings why they kind of ended. Maybe analyze like the last dates that you had and what happened as you were on these dates, maybe some things that you can improve upon. None of this is to beat yourself up about. So don't get into like the pity party. Don't go into, oh, woe is me, or, we're heading that route, but I don't want you to get into that, because then that doesn't help you gear towards the solution, which would be helping getting yourself better fit to have this relationship. So you just want to see and analyze what could you have possibly done better. And if you know that you do have some strengths, right? So you are coming off somewhat confident. If you know that you do have some strengths, try to sit back and think about ways that you can improve yourself on these strengths. So maybe if your communication is somewhat up to par, you said you're a great listener, that's awesome, but that's only one part of communicating. Maybe analyze the other part of communicating and how you effectively talk to men. Do you communicate in a way that is easily received by men, or is it kind of off-putting? Do you make a man kind of want to go on the defense because you don't know if you want to fight him or not? So, I mean, just kind of look at how you're communicating all overall and see how you can strengthen your strengths and improve yourself, because ultimately that's going to make you more attractive. Certainly, if you already know that these are qualities that make you attractive anyway, there's no harm in trying to just get a little better. Yeah, so I'm trying to think of anything else. Let me see. Up on this question here that could be used for your benefit. I mean, I don't know. This question is pretty straightforward. Yeah. Again, we can't tell you why you're getting friend zone per se, but I mean, again, it's important to just like focus on other aspects maybe of your life too that could help with your self-growth. So if again, we kind of hit on to this a little bit about like your environment, right? And so where you're at and who you're meeting these guys and what type of guys you're meeting. Maybe venture out of spaces where you're not so much. I guess I know we kind of recommend often that a person go to like events based off of their hobbies. But in a way, if you're kind of getting friend zoned, I would maybe drift away from things that are so much your hobbies and maybe things that aren't so much your hobbies to see what other men you could come in contact with based off of that. So then that way you can go into the relationship more with an interest in what this guy is interested in and less so much of an mutual interest that could just, kind of grow into friendships with common interests type thing.
Or either what she needs to do is she needs to go out on she needs a honest male opinion or an assessment on her.
Yeah.
On what she's doing wrong and what things she needs to work on in order to maintain a date into a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, into an engagement, into a marriage.
Yep.
She needs some outside help as far as some sort of mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Another married couple can definitely give her some great advice, such as us.
Yeah.
So if you all also too, we do consulting work for relationship marriage advice. And if you all feel compelled to, you can schedule a consultant session with us on wifeconomics.com. And we are able to provide you some great advice in which you may not have access to that, such as this female here with all the male friends that she have who are not keeping it 100 with you, because we definitely will. If there's an issue that I see, I will let you know. So, hey, you may need to change your mindset. You may need to change your attitude about things. And I think that these are some of the things that I see as far as red flags that she's exemplifying. Because it's not, if she's saying that she's going out on all these dates and she doesn't have one person who's interested in her, like I said before, there's something wrong.
Yeah, no kissing, no hold hands, nothing.
There's something that's wrong that she's not seeing within herself. And she's dating these nice guys and saying that, there's nothing wrong with you. No, there's something wrong. You're not doing this, you're not saying these things, you're saying all of this stuff about yourself and not saying anything about me. Those could be those issues. But often at times, it's kind of hard for us to see our own faults. Yeah. And we don't like to see those faults, and often at times we deny those things. Yeah. And so often at times it takes a third party, a person aside from yourself, to actually tell you what you're doing wrong, and what things you can improve on top of that. So that is something to consider as well. So
yep, that's so true. Again, too, one of the things that we work on within my Wife Economics course, which is super important, is to help women to be discerning on the guys that you're entertaining, right? So you really have to be aware of the signs that really show whether or not this guy is even interested in you from the very beginning, or if you're maybe even just like wasting your time on someone who's just not worth it. And then you're thinking, oh, I'm getting friend zoned, when honestly it's just probably not even, he's just not interested in you. So as silly as this may sound, I kind of do want to go over this with you just in case you're just not paying attention to the fact that maybe you're going out with guys who aren't probably even really interested in you, and you're probably wasting your time anyway. So to help you be a little discerning, because that is important, if you see that a guy is like always checking his phone, or he's always looking around the room, he's not making eye contact with you or smiling at you, chances are his mind is elsewhere, and he's probably not as interested in you like you would, hope. And then, yeah, it's probably going to end up with you being friend zone. And it shouldn't be a surprise if you actually can pay attention to the subtle signs that a guy will leave for you to show you. And this probably isn't going to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially if he's not making eye contact or smiling at you. Yeah. That's another way. Yeah. Eye contact is very important in order to maintain conversation, communication, and letting that person know that, hey, I like the way you look. I like what you're saying. I like, your voice. I just like, looking at you. So on those first impressions and those dates, it's very important to have heavy eye contact to let that person know that you're interested. So if you're not seeing those eyes and you're not seeing teeth when they smile, then more than likely, hey, this ain't working out.
Yeah, that's so true. Yep. And if he's not asking you any questions, right? So he's not really so much interested in anything about you, that, he's not really asking you about your own life, things, your hobbies, what you're into. I know you kind of mentioned that the guy would send paragraphs of stuff about himself. So if there isn't kind of like an open-ended follow-up question about maybe like so what about you, or, whatever you're talking about, something that will get him to say, hey, he wants to know more about you, then he's probably not so much interested in talking to you and bringing you into his life, because he's not even trying to figure out, anything about you. So yeah, that's that.
Yeah. And then also too, if he's making excuses to leave early, more than likely he has other obligations. That means he's
that ain't you.
You're right. That's not you. There's another woman probably in his life.
Yeah.
Or either like he's just not interested in you. He's very turned off by the things that you're saying and the things that you're doing during the date.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So this also goes for women too as well. And men as well. So if women are doing these things during the date, more than likely they're not interested in you.
Right.
They're trying to friend zone you. So you need to, especially men, need to be very careful. And when you see these signs, and then also be very very cautious if a woman still tries to continue to keep in touch with you and she's doing all of these things.
Yeah.
By all means, please do not give her any money, because more than likely she will hang around you until that well runs dry and suck every coin out of your pocket.
Yeah.
And then, as far as this young lady, she has to make sure that she doesn't meet any guys out there who are asking for money as well. If you're in a relationship, if you're dating and people are asking you for money very early in the dates, I would say that second or third date, that is a red flag. And more than likely you need to discontinue conversation and block their phone number from your phone. Because more than likely they are not interested in you. They're needing help. They're needing monetary help, and they're not interested in friendship.
Yeah.
And I would hate for you to have to try to figure that out, whether they are really interested and they need help and they don't have any friends, or either, they're trying to play you. Right, so it's a fine line. You don't even know these people from a can of paint so early in a relationship, to the point to where you're trying to give out money. That's something you need to be very cautious about.
Yeah.
Men and women.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up men, because we hadn't even geared this so much towards men, but yes, this definitely, all of this certainly applies for men too.
Oh yeah,
and it's definitely really important that men,
men get friend zoned all the time. You get put in a box thinking that you're trying to get somewhere with this fine female, and then all of a sudden you get a text or call after a month of talking and say, hey, I need my phone bill paid. That happens a lot with men. They look at us as if like
a utility,
right? They look at us as like a sugar daddy. They're basically turning you into a sugar daddy without getting the sugar. So it's not reciprocated. The relationship isn't something that is beneficial to both people.
Yeah.
When you all are first starting out dating new people, it should be something that's beneficial for both of you all on a small scale. You're not asking for much. You're just asking for attention and trying to grow a relationship.
Yeah.
So I've had that happen to me when I was younger. I gave a female my phone number in the club one night, and then the second time we spoke through a text message, she called me. No, it was a call. She called me and asked me for money. And I was like, oh no, I'm sorry. I ain't that type of person. So I would suggest that you lose my number. Bottom line, I ain't no sucker. So don't be trying to play me for that. I don't do that type of stuff. So, but it happens to guys all the time. And nice women out there who are trying to help out a guy, help a boy out, in those situations, and they need money. Be very cautious of people in need of money. When you've only met them for about a couple of weeks or a month.
Yeah, because then they'll play those games with you where you will think that they're interested. Kind of when I think of friend zone too, I think of like dragging the person along in a way, like kind of just trying to keep them around for the benefits.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, they got other people that they're doing this with. So especially if you can't get in touch with these people and they're taking money from you, you're going out on dates and they're not doing anything, meaning like they're not, like she's having this situation, no hand holding, and no kissing going on, no coming up to the apartment and talking and having coffee after the date. So if none of that stuff is going on, then more than likely, if you're giving this person money, then that's all they got you for. They put you in a friend money box zone.
Or maybe even not even just money, but even just like attention. We kind of live in a world where people like attention a lot. And that's important to notice, men and women, because just saying one or the other, but just maybe they want some attention. And they're just trying to,
the ego stroke.
Yeah.
I need someone to stroke my ego, so I'm just go out here and
go on a date for the heck of it. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. Or, they just want some dinner or something like that. We've all heard those horror stories of that actually being the case. The woman just wants a good meal or something like that, whatever the case may be. I think
just be honest.
I was exactly about to say that. I think that would be okay if people would be honest. Like, in the situation, like you hit somebody up and you just be like, oh, I'm just trying to chill tonight, get some food, kick it, like that's about it. Like,
the female that asked me for money, she was honest and she said, I need my rent paid. That's what she told me. And I was like, and that's why I told her to lose my number. I'm not paying your. This is the second time I've talked to you. No, I'm not paying your rent. No,
that's a bit
very
forward. Yeah, thank you. That is exactly what I was saying. That's very forward. I certainly don't recommend that approaching a situation like that. That is not, even if the man is a provider, that is no way to get him to want to provide for you. So certainly don't.
It's happening to my friends on dating websites. Dating links. The females don't, hesitate to ask, hey, can you cash at me, $500 or whatever the case may be. Things like that,
I guess like some guys on dating apps may be for that, if like this whole OnlyFans and all this age of guys giving money for, what's the term for that, like simping or whatever, like I guess they're interested in doing stuff like that.
There's simps out there, they like to flex and show that they got money until they realize they don't have it anymore, and then they begging somebody else for money, and they going out on dates and asking women for money because they done gave theirs all away.
Don't get friend zoned.
Don't be a simp
like that.
Don't be out here simping.
There's things that you can really.
You're condoning to the bad culture of OnlyFans supporting or whatever, what have you.
I ain't gonna knock nobody hustle. I ain't my thing, but
your hustle is your hustle, but don't be a fool. Don't be a fool for anybody.
Although we slightly digress, though, it's really still important that you guys are really open and honest about intentions from the very beginning. So if you are just looking for a man to pay your bills, just say that. Like, let him know up front. Don't drag this sweet man around, and that ain't your interest. Or men, if you're not interested in really having a relationship with the girl, or maybe you just want a one night stand. I don't know. Some girls are down for that. If that is the case, you won't know unless you're actually honest with this girl. And I honestly, truth be told, in the age that we live in with this whole Me Too and all this other stuff going on, men, y'all got to be safe, and women, y'all got to be safe. And the best way to be safe is to be open and honest about intentions and what you plan on doing or not doing. And then moving forward in that way. If you're in a friend zone situation, a little different from this lady where you're actually friends with this guy and you want to move forward, or a man, if you're friends with the girl and you want to move forward a little further than just friends, make sure that you're actually saying that this is something that's going on. And especially if you're a man and you're looking to move things further along with the woman, make sure that you're upfront and you're telling her this as a leader and saying, hey, I'm looking to take this relationship a little further. These are my intentions and these are also my expectations. Let her know what you expect from her. Let her know how you want things to progress further on. Women really do like that, being able to initiate and lead and guide and direct the relationship if it's something you're really interested in.
You said women like to guide the relationship?
No, men that can do that can lead and guide, in the sense of they'll say, hey, like, we were friends, but I'm looking at you like a little bit more. Like
feminine women like that.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of alpha females
that don't like that. You think they wouldn't like that?
No, because they like to control. Alpha female women compete with men, so therefore they like control. They like to control the relationships. That's the reason why they don't work. They don't work out well. So that's why I was suspecting her. All the stuff that she's saying, that I'd go on plenty of dates and I do all this stuff, but these guys don't like me. You know, they friend box me or whatever. And I'm thinking that a lot of it is dealing with her attitude and her persona. Oh, I'm hot. You know, she's probably very alpha female-ish. And very, you know, boisterous probably on her dates, and she's probably hard to handle. To be honest with you, that's the reason why a lot of guys probably just ditch her after the second and third date. So that's what I suspect from reading her letter.
That's interesting. I never really thought of it that way, for like an alpha female looking to lead the relationship in that sense. Even more. But that makes sense though, especially if it can be hard for the guy to even want to lead it.
But that's a classic example that men hold the keys to relationship. If these alpha, when have you seen that it worked out that a woman proposed to a man and they got married? That's very rare.
Right.
It doesn't really work here in the United States or any culture at that. A woman who's getting down on her knees to ask a man for his hand in marriage is very desperate. It comes off very desperate.
Yeah.
Those women get put in a friend box. The man is like, oh no, I feel embarrassed. You demasculated me in front of all these people here at Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Or
Cracker Barrel.
What you call this other place? The place where you eat at the buffet.
Golden Corral.
Golden Corral. You've embarrassed me in front of all these people at Golden Corral. And that comes off very masculine.
Yeah.
And that's what I suspect her issue is really her attitude. She's not being feminine in her approach. Women have to be alluring. Women need to learn this in order how to bait a man in and try to get them to and put a ring on their finger.
Yeah.
All of that is earned.
Yeah.
People, women, like this lady here, she's having a hard time just earning a boyfriend.
A kiss.
Right. A kiss, a handshake, a high five or something.
Yeah.
She's having a hard time trying to get that.
So is it alpha, excuse me, I'm sorry to cut you off, but is it alpha male-ish to like try to hold a man's hand? Like maybe if
No, you see, affection is something different. That? Affection is feminine. Women can be feminine by showing affection. Now, they're not feminine when they're looking for that in return.
Okay.
For a man to hold, always hold their hand and hold and hug on them and cuddle on them and stuff like that. So that's what they're not. That is what I meant by women need to be feminine and alluring in those aspects, because they need to understand what it takes in order to get this type of attention that she wants from a man, and she doesn't know how to do that. that's where you
Yeah.
can help her with that as with your wife economics course.
Right, because our whole week 7 is all about feminine allurement in particular, and just how to position yourself and highlight your beautiful qualities within yourself that you can really put on display that shows like, hey, I'm quite a catch, and it will draw a man in. How to talk, how to carry yourself, conduct all of that great stuff. But I'm actually wondering, so you don't think like if they're like walking and like holding hands, because I never even thought about that, because she did mention that she hasn't even got like a holding hands. But like if she's like walking with the guy, that's not too much to like try to grab and hold a hand. Like that's not, I don't know, with the guy, like I've never tried anything like that. So I'm trying to think like if you're dating, if a girl's dating you, for example, say we're dating and we're just walking and I just up and try to like grab your hand, would you like
if she's hot, like she says she is, she's gorgeous, and the guy is average looking, or he's a little bit above average, he may be intimidated by her looks. He's looking for comfort in that situation if he's not the best confident man.
Okay.
And it is very comforting if the female is reaching out to him.
Okay.
And holding his hand and things like that.
So would you encourage her to do the things if she is on, or is that too forward? Because I guess it's kind of like a thin line of not knowing when to initiate and not seem,
she can ask
like but not to come off like you do this all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want it to seem like she's saying like, oh, like this is something she do all the time or anything like that. But if she's noticed she's not getting those hands, she's not getting maybe the evening kiss or something like that, like where is it okay for the woman to initiate it and still not come off masculine? If you can,
all you have to do is just ask. I mean, you just don't go out and just leap out and start kissing people and stuff.
Not the
at the end of the day,
one,
you just say, "Man, I have a kiss." She could say and ask that if she's not getting that in return, especially after the second or third date. The man is dating you for a reason. Evidently, he's attracted to you, but what it is that they're probably not feeling that traction of her being close to them, if that makes sense. Men look for that too. We look for that closeness and thinking that, hey, possibly this can go somewhere. It's just kind of hard just reading this letter. Either she has an alpha female issue, or either
she's not as attractive.
Either not that attractive, or either she's coming off as off-putting in the conversations and things that make men kind of shy away from her. Yeah. Or whatever the case may be. I can only assume. I don't like to assume whatever's going on, but just some words of wisdom, dropping some jewels there, that those are possibly some issues that these men are seeing in dealing with her,
So then with that kind of confirmation from my husband, I would give the advice to go ahead, and if you are interested in this guy, again, I'm saying date one guy at a time. Don't go out and do this with every guy that you're going on a date with. That's not advisable. But certainly, if it is a guy that you're meeting and you're dating and you're having these conversations with him, it's great to actually show your interest in ways that may require you, especially if he's shy. But
right, she has to step out of her comfort zone too. I mean, because maybe these guys are shy, or whatever the case may be.
That's what I was thinking. And then I was like, okay, well, if you want these things and the guys, because she did mention that the guys are really nice or whatever and polite. So sometimes, not saying that all nice, polite guys are shy, but sometimes he may be a little shy and he may not know, again, if you're going to reject him. If you are as hot as you say you are, let's give you the benefit of the doubt. And you are as hot as you say you are, he could be intimidated.
The second and third date, you need to be showing more affection than the first, of course, by all means. Because some guys will take that, if it feels like it's just going sideways the whole time, then they can become very bored and uninterested in the conversations and dating you a fourth time, spending money, as far as because men are putting out money for these dates, so they want to feel some sort of reciprocation for that money other than just conversation. We like touch. Men like touch. We like to feel as if we're wanted. Maybe she's not giving those type of qualities out that these guys are that she's wanting them. Not desperately needing them, but she's wanting more than just a date.
Right. Maybe if you guys are like having dinner or whatever and you're sitting, the first date, y'all were sitting on opposite sides of the table. Consider the next date, if you still are going out to eat or whatever the case may be, sit on his side so that you're closer to him so that then you can even eat. Like, I don't know, I guess this whole concept of like movies and stuff, you often see dates, they're sitting across from each other, but you can sit next to your date and you can eat next to each other and be close and be able to have a conversation that way. That would give you the chance to connect, get close with your, person while you're on that date. Maybe if you first date, play a little footsies, accidentally kick them a little bit.
Right, you got to increase the intimacy on the second and third date.
Yeah.
You got to increase the intimacy every date after the first date in order to get that person to understand that, hey, I'm trying to take this somewhere with you.
Yeah. Little hints, little nudges along the way. Don't just wait for them.
And if that person's not feeling you, then they will let you know, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you doing this? You're acting weird.
Yeah.
Hello. And then you know, you're really in the friend box.
Right.
And then that's when you push away and pull away from this person and be like, hey, friend, you put them as friend in your phone or what have you. There's no guessing game that needs to be had here. That's what really cures all of this, is the level of intimacy moving forward from the first date.
Yeah.
And there's no more guessing games to this,
Yeah.
So friend zone no more.
Yeah. Maybe even come up with like your own little itinerary in your head, just of things that you would do if you're noticing that the guy isn't showing you that affection that you want. So you'll say like, oh, if I don't get this by the first date, then I may try to hold his hand myself, or see how that works. Or then the second date, then I may, whatever level of comfort you're at, where you're able to show that, hey, I'm looking to take this a little bit further by being a little bit intimate here and there, kiss on the cheek, I don't know, whatever, again, you're comfortable with. Go ahead and take those steps so that you can use it as like a checklist, as like, okay, he accepted me doing this, check. He must like that, he accepted this, check, So that way, that if you do get those signs that, he ain't really liking that, trust your instincts, trust that energy. A woman will certainly feel if that guy isn't reciprocating that energy back towards her. So trust that energy and trust that ability to say, I know that this guy probably isn't interested in me and I'm not going to waste my time anymore. I wouldn't even save his number as under friend. I don't know. That's not, especially if you're looking to be a wife, you ain't got time for guy friends. To be honest, they're going to have to be gone anyway by the time you find your fiance. So I wouldn't be so much interested in trying to still be friends with these guys once you feel like they friend zoned you. That's only going to like hurt your feelings in the long run, and then you don't need them for friends anyway. So just gracefully accept it for what it is and move on, and it'll be certainly all right in the long run, especially if you actually take these tips and look to do the things that are going to help position you into a better lane as far as with like dating, so that you don't constantly find yourself being friend zone all the time. Just some additional things that are coming to mind that I really want you to keep in mind as you're in this dating field. Always remember that it's not always about you. Sometimes the other person just isn't interested. And, maybe it's not even just not being interested in you, but just not even interested in a romantic relationship in general. Maybe the guy is like focused on school or work or whatever, and they thought that they could dedicate time to having a relationship, but it didn't work out that way. I don't know. Sometimes it's just not about you, and it's much better for your self-esteem if you don't make things so personal on yourself when things don't go out.
Right.
Don't work out the way you want them to.
Right. I mean, saying that, I mean, it's possible that she's dating her peers. So guys who can't realistically provide and protect her right now.
Yeah.
If she's looking for a husband, more than likely she probably needs to date an older man.
Yeah.
Someone who is able to readily provide for her.
Yeah. Or at least in that mindset of, this is what they're looking for. They're actually ready for a relationship. But certainly don't give up on love. Just because you've been friend zoned, that doesn't mean you'll be friend zoned forever. Not every guy is going to place you in that friend zone. And mindset makes a huge difference in not only your self-esteem and your ability to want to push forward in this dating market, which I'm sure is hard. We feel for you guys. That's why we do what we do right now, honestly. But it's like, don't let that be an issue for you as far as not wanting to do the things that you need to do to help yourself actually end up into a relationship, because there are plenty of other people out here who would look at you and I'm sure think that you are a great catch and want to take things further. It's just all about you making sure that you are presenting yourself that way and you're actually putting yourself in the position to be able to meet these guys that are wanting to do this with you. So
right. Yep. So if you keep getting the same results, you got to learn to pivot and make changes, strategize, do something different.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that was a good one. That's all I pretty got. What about you?
No, that's it. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate the viewers that's out there. Like we said before, this is a call-in show. So if you all have any questions about anything related to relationships and family, by all means, you can chime in at any time while we're talking. If you can, please like, share, and subscribe our videos on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of the above. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys
all
for
joining.
Yeah,
thank you for the support. And as we continue to do our thing. Well, that's all we got for you all tonight. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. And until next time, you all have a good night. Peace.